welcome to episode 71 of the Solo Gamer Podcast. I am joined by my undead immortal podcast hosts, cooperative hosts, co-hosts, whatever you want to say. It's Taylor, Kyle, Taylor. Hello, you guys. Welcome in. It feels like it's been, I know we just did an experience point, but like this is like the regular show and it feels like we didn't do this last week. So it's weird. It's like I feel like we just got off a bye week or something.
Right, yeah. Got a little bit of rest.
Yeah.
Recharged in there.
More of a like Pro Bowl games, you know? Like
right.
In between.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's going on with you guys? Taylor, how's your week been? Catch us up a little bit.
Yeah, my week's been awesome, man. As I was explaining on our last episode when you were on vacation here, I just started my new job this week. So
yeah,
it's been great, man. Like I feel rejuvenated. I don't absolutely hate my life anymore, which is great. So it felt like the last several months or so have been such a drag. And lately I've just felt really, really good about where things are at in life. And I'm excited about it again. And I feel like it's kind of breathed new life into like, not that I wasn't excited to do this show before, but it gives me, I feel like a little bit extra energy. I felt like I've been a little bit lacking lately. So I'm excited to hopefully have some more energy going into, the rest of the shows here moving forward. And I apologize if my performance was substandard, but no. I've been really having a good time this week and excited to be back, and happy October to everybody. This is one of my favorite times of the year, and
same.
Excited to talk games with you guys.
Dude, I am just, Alicia and I revel in our basic bitchness.
Yeah.
We just love it, dude.
Yeah.
First, I will just say, in very October style, Alicia and I both got kind of nasty colds. Like I'm in the very beginnings of it, so I might be muting a lot to try and cough, and hopefully I don't cough right into the mic in the middle of talking. My voice is kind of scratchy, so clearing my throat, stuff like that. So I apologize for any gross body noises I make, but hey, we're doing an episode about scary games, so it kind of works.
It's going to be gross body noises,
Yeah, there's gross body noises all the time in those games, so we're really just trying to like ground you guys in here. But I'm really really happy to hear that you're doing better. I have not noticed any subpar performances. I will say, I think you mentioned earlier to me in text that you're excited to like really jump back into your backlog, start playing games. So I think the what we've been playing section is probably going to be a little more fun for you.
Oh, 100%,
going forward.
100%.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kyle,
dude, welcome back to
man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. I want to say welcome back to the work from home world, Taylor.
Excited. It feels good to be back, baby. Let me tell you.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
We got 2 full-time remote workers, and I'm hybrid. I usually work like 3 times in the office and then 2 days at home. It's kind of my general flow. I've been working from home all week this week because we didn't feel good right off the bat. So,
at least we got to watch Mariners.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
At least if you watched today was horrible.
Yeah.
So hopefully when we release this episode and it's Friday, we'll be feeling better. But it's all the chips are on the table. It's the last game. Whoever wins moves forward. Whoever loses goes home. And
man.
I'm as a Mariners fan, I have earned and deserve my right to nihilism. Like as a Seahawks fan, they've taught me over the years to be a little more confident, to be a little more optimistic. Like, not like I haven't gone into a football season being like, oh, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Very rarely has that ever felt that way, only a couple times. But I pretty much go in everywhere. Like, they're going to win like 10 games. They're probably going to make the playoffs or barely miss the playoffs. It's going to be a good competitive team that's going to win over half of their games. With the Mariners, though, I'm just like, nice. Anytime anything goes wrong with the baseball, you and I are connected, Taylor, because with the Cardinals for football, we have the Mariners for baseball. You have the Diamondbacks have a World Series. They have a championship. They just went to the World Series. You've been there twice. We've never even been there once. So, and you guys are like a younger franchise than we are. So I'm a nihilist.
Yeah, we even had the best team in regular season history.
Yeah.
To add on to that. So.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things too where it's like I always feel kind of, and not to go off on a sports tangent, but
it's all right. We'll get back to it.
I've always cared a lot more about football than I have baseball, so it's like when the football team isn't doing anything,
I agree.
Where it's at, like it's a dagger to the heart that is worse than baseball. But I've definitely become a bigger baseball fan in the last like 10 years than I ever have been.
Same. That's kind of the same like timeline that Kyle and I have gotten into. I used to hate baseball just like 15 years ago. I thought it was super lame. Then I got into it later, but yeah, it's interesting. I feel like you should be a nihilist with us. You for the Cardinals and us for the Mariners. It's just if you
I don't know how you're not.
Expect nothing, you'll never be disappointed. That's what I've learned from the Seattle Mariners. Well, I went into this series like they're going to lose this series. They're the Mariners.
No, and
here we are at Game 5.
It goes beyond expecting nothing. It's like you have to like expect the worst possible scenario. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't get excited for baseball games like I do for football games. Even though I do get nervous. But yeah, interesting stuff. Kyle, man, catch us up on your week. How you doing, dude?
Good, man. I was also sick for quite a few days last week. Yeah.
I feel like I've got the chest burster like right in here. It's still the face hugger is off of my face. But the little alien, the little xenomorph has not yet ready to burst out. So like I feel sick. I feel like body achy and just fatigue, but I don't have a horrible like my nose isn't chock full of grossness and I'm not like super sick yet, but it's like, I've not felt great.
I'll be waiting on standby when it does burst to go, oh God. Oh God.
Oh dude, yes.
Honestly, for me, it felt like just a normal cold, but I think having, to live in a giant bong for like the last month straight, just shrouded in smoke.
Yeah, it's been so bad here.
I'm talking about the fires, that is. I feel like it's, I know, right? I'd be feeling a lot better, but it's like, I think it made like just a simple cold feel like 10 times worse. And it was like, and it just would not, even still now I'm like still kind of congested. And I think it's just the irritation of just breathing in all the smoke all freaking day.
It does. I just stay inside as much as possible. I really hate it because this time of year it's cooling off and we usually are taking our dogs for like 2 walks a day. They love it. Yeah. We love it. It feels great. No, we have not been taking them. It's just way too smoky. It's not good for us. It's not good for them. So, yeah, that's been brutal. Yeah, so it's been an interesting week, but I'm really glad you guys are here. And if I start dying, just kind of pick up where I left off. So one of you guys can take over. Oh, I was gonna say too, Taylor, to your oh god, I was gonna add my favorite line from that scene is man, the food ain't that bad, baby. It's such a good line.
It is.
That movie is so great because I feel like a lot of that stuff is improv. Like they had their lines from the script, and then a lot of stuff is improv, and he just understood the character. And like the fact is that they don't know what's going on yet, and it hadn't come out of him yet, and like that's definitely what his character would say.
Oh, for sure.
It just felt so right. The food ain't that bad, baby.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It just sounds like natural, like blue collar guys working on a thing, making a joke.
Yep. Not sure what was happening.
Yeah.
What a scene. What a scene. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But we're going to jump right into it. I told these guys that I was probably not going to go for the full hour and a half, 2 hours that we normally do because I just I don't know that my voice is going to last that long. So we're going to kind of have a rush to it. So apologies for that. If you were hoping for a full-on episode, hopefully by next week. Excuse me. We'll be ready to rock. Kyle, I think it's probably just because we just got this done today. But catch us up a little bit on what you've been playing, man.
Gosh, honestly, not a lot. Like I was saying,
Yeah.
I was pretty sick for a little bit, so I was just kind of chilling, and then you got
resting.
you've got Mariners going on. I never
it's
do
been
anything
crazy.
on Sundays. That's just all dedicated to football.
Oh yeah.
Things I think are going to level out though this coming weekend. I'm planning on gaming a lot more. But yeah, just hit the gym a lot, doing that whole thing. I know I say it like every episode now, but shocker. Yeah, man, not much to it. Just kind of just hanging out, living life. Things have been really busy for me.
Yeah.
But I need to make it a point to like just sit down and game. One thing that I'm wanting to change is I need to get better about getting up in the morning, man, so that I can do something at night. It's just been so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, getting up in the morning is never easy. It's been really difficult for me lately. I've just been kind of in the same cycle. I will say if you're anything like me, I have done this thing in the past where if I usually go to bed around 11 or 11:30, which is kind of like lately what I've been doing, and getting up at like 7 or 7:30, I'll go to bed at 11 on Monday night, and then I'll get up at like 15 minutes earlier than I would, and then the next day I go to bed at 10:30, and then I get up a half an hour earlier, and the next day, and I do like really slow, so it's not like I'm just gonna fucking get up at 5. Like I can't just that alarm is going off. But I usually like, and then by the time I get all the way through the weekend, and I hit next Monday, I'm like, okay, I'm getting tired already, and it's like 10:30. It doesn't always work, but it has worked for me before.
Good strategy.
I think that is the trick, especially like, as we're getting older, man. You have to be more careful about what you're actually doing on the weekend because it will wreck your whole week. If you're like, dude, even if I just like Saturday night, I'm like, oh, I've got all day Sunday. I'm going to stay up Saturday night, do like 2, 3 a.m., not get too crazy with it. But even that, it's like, I could feel that on Monday.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been trying to go to bed at like midnight or maybe 1 at the latest on my days off.
Yeah.
But easier said than done sometimes. Taylor, what have you been playing, man?
A couple things recently with my newfound time, which has been great.
Yeah.
So one thing I finally wrapped up is I finished Silent Hill 2, which was really, really good, actually. Once the bug actually got in me to start playing it, like I felt like it really clicked. Yeah. So once it finally clicked and I was able to like get through the main mystery of the game, once I started kind of putting the puzzle pieces together about Silent Hill, I think I've talked about this before, but it's a very like allegorical game. Like a lot of it is not meant to be taken literally, and I think like Silent Hill, like in and of itself, is kind of a weird allegory also. And so as I was playing through the game, I kind of got more of a sense of like what Silent Hill is. The main character, James Sunderland, like how he sort of plays into the whole picture. And I finished it up, and it's a phenomenal game, really. I think it probably is a little bit too long. I think you probably could have maybe shaved a good 4, maybe 5 hours off of it and had it been like really, really excellent. And distilled it into like some of the best areas in the game. There were probably like 3 areas out of like maybe 5 or 6 that I thought were like really, really good, and like a couple of them where I was kind of like, you could probably deal without this. I think I ended the game off somewhere around like 19 hours, and I was kind of taking my time. There was a point in time like when it finally clicked for me where I was like, I got to get through the story and like really make some progress on this. So maybe a little bit of that was me kind of taking my time in the beginning and sort of seeing everything there was to see. So I maybe could have even had another hour or 2 onto it had I really, kept going at the pace I was going. But yeah, ended it somewhere around 18, 19 hours and thought it probably could have been shorter. And that's really my only nitpick with it. I think it's a really, really well-made game. A really good remake, it sounds like, from everything I've heard from people who have played the originals, and I really liked that. So I think it ingratiated me into the universe quite a bit, and I'm excited for. I think that they said that they were gonna remake the first one here pretty soon, and then they were gonna
Yeah, I
look
thought
at.
I heard that too.
I was just about
Yeah.
to mention it.
So this definitely has me interested in that. I'm definitely sold on the series and the universe, and yeah, whatever Konami does moving forward, I'll definitely play it. So yeah, it was a great game, and also a perfect way to kick off October too, and
Heck
start
yeah.
playing some more horror games also. And then yeah, other than that, one other thing I've kind of found myself dabbling in is Lies of P. So we talked about
Yeah.
this on a episode a couple weeks ago with Craig, but yeah, Lies of P was being given away on the monthly games for PlayStation Network, and I had put some time into it. I think when it came out a couple years ago, it came out on Game Pass like day one, and I downloaded it there and
Yeah.
probably played it for 3 or 4 hours and had a really good time with it, but I just didn't really get its hooks into me at the time. And so now that it's on PlayStation and I don't have my Xbox anymore, I was kind of like, well, let's go ahead and give it a try. And I've been really, really liking it. Almost has kind of a Mega Man feel, if they made a Mega Man Dark Souls game, I think it would be something along this line with like a little bit of like a Bloodborne kind of like horror Victorian aesthetic to it. But it's really, really good. There's parts of it I think that are like, so the game is basically supposed to be like Pinocchio, but like a
Right.
dark like retelling of the story maybe.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it probably follows like the like Grimm's fairy tale version. So there's definitely characters that show up that like you probably would know if you were really, really familiar with the source material, but they're just really cool looking, well designed characters in this game. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I think where I currently stand, I'm probably 8 or 9 hours into it. So it's been really,
Nice.
really fun. Um, the bosses are really, really difficult. I just got past a boss today that was like you had to fight like 3 to 4 dudes at once, and it was kind of nuts. So the nice thing about it though is it does have a difficulty slider. So if you ever find yourself like you're beating your head against a wall or you can't get past a certain enemy, you can always drop the difficulty. And even on like the easiest setting or whatever, on the easy setting, um, it's still a fair bit amount of challenging, but not like too difficult to overcome. So instead of dying like, you know, 8 to 10 times, you probably die like 2 to 3 times, which I think is a lot more enjoyable in certain situations. So I've been having fun with it. Hopefully, we'll look to finish that maybe sometime next week because I think I'm like, it feels like I'm probably about halfway through, but yeah, that's pretty much everything I've been playing. But also been going into more like metaphor too, but not a ton more new to say about it. So
Hell yeah. Yeah, I saw that you were playing Metaphor on Discord the other day. Or
Yeah.
maybe that was today even. I'm not sure.
yeah, earlier today.
Yeah, Liza P is definitely on my backlog list. I've actually played it for a little bit, but what?
You have such a giant backlog, my guy.
Yep. And I got
ever
assuming
growing.
I don't die of some disease or a car accident or something. I got probably a good 40 plus years to get it done.
Yeah, it's plenty of time.
Yeah.
Especially when you're retired, it's like, what else you got to do?
Yeah, and I won't get them all done because I always add games every year. I add them to my list, but it's just sort of an intention of like, I'm interested in this. I'd like to play it when it sounds good and grab it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that sounds fun. I'm kind of in a weird spot with games where I'm playing 3 different games and I don't have that big game yet. I haven't decided on what that's going to be, though I think I know where I'm going to lean, and I'll see what you guys think about that sometime next time when I'm getting closer to playing that. But Right now, I'm just I am jumping back into Total War Pharaoh. After we did our episode, Kyle, with the I think Taylor, I think you were feeling sick at that point, and didn't. That was the one where you didn't make it there. We did like our bucket list of sort of things we want to do before we die in games, and one of mine was to get this like play through all the Total War historical titles in chronological order and get like a semi historically accurate end state in each one. And then, like, keep those saves. So I was like, there's Pharaoh Dynasties has really interested me. There's a lot about it that I like, but there's something about the way that the campaign moves and progresses early on that I struggle to get past. So I'm just kind of forcing through that right now. I think it's maybe some of it's the battles. I don't love the battles, at least not in the early game. They just kind of all feel the same. And there's other Total Wars where the battles all feel the same, but I like the feel, so I don't mind it. But I don't love the feel of the battles in Pharaoh as much, at least not yet. It's just like, and like the music is kind of weird. It's got like, I don't know, it's got like this like techno and electric guitar in it. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I want like, play some like really weird classical. It's like, it takes those, you know, that kind of, I don't know the name of the instrument. I feel bad, but like any movie you've ever watched that takes place in like Northern Africa or in the Middle East, that like that really beautiful stringed instrument. I think it's stringed. It sounds stringed, but I don't know what it is.
With the brown yellow filter over the camera.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's in like every movie that takes. I mean, it's in Kingdom of Heaven and like every movie. Definitely
more of an African soundtrack, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, but it's not. It's not like all original instruments. Like all the other, like Rome and Rome 2 and Medieval and Thrones of Britannia and Attila and Empire, they all have like actual orchestral style music that fits the era and the time play and like the place and time. So like Rome has the cool like kind of Mediterranean Spanish guitar picking, and it's got a woman singing in Latin, and it's got like those just like that sound of like ancient Rome. There's a musical sound that probably movies have kind of put into our heads. Yeah. And it's the same thing. So there's a little bit of that, and I want more of that from Pharaoh, but then they add in these weird like 808 like right before battle stuff. I'm like, this is not right. This doesn't
That's so
feel weird. And then there's like a electric bass guitar that's like like a Hans Zimmer kind of, which is cool, but it's like this doesn't fit, man. And it just bothers me.
Yeah, that sounds like
it's like Total War Pharaoh, directed by Michael Bay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, kind of.
Sounds like it should be in an action movie soundtrack or something.
It's odd. And I know it's a silly thing to complain about, but there's just something about like the Total War has such a good, each one has such a really accurate, like not accurate, but like a really distinct feel and soundscape and atmosphere and art style. And it all works. Like the Shogun 2 has all those what are those like taiko drums or whatever.
Yeah. I still need to play Shogun 2.
Shogun 2 is good.
With
You'll like it.
Shamisen like guitar like
yes. Blum, 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 blum. Yeah, like it's all there and it sounds right and it's really good. Like every single, and when you play, it's really cool when you play Empire Total War, which is colonial era. When you're hovering over Europe, it plays like classical, like Bach and Mozart style sort of violins, a big orchestra, really, really pretty. It's such a like relaxing. Playing the campaign map, the music is just really nice, and even in the Warhammer games, it kind of has.
Yeah, Warhammer has
a Howard Shore, Lord of the Rings style mixture of stuff. And then in Empire, if you go to North America, it starts playing like wooden flute, like Native American style music. Anyway, not to get off on a tangent about Total War music, but so that's a small thing. But the battles, they're like really quick, and they just don't. I'm not really into the units I'm recruiting. Like whatever.
I think it's
all these half naked guys, and
it's the lack of horses, which I mean I would say is probably historically accurate.
Yeah,
right?
I haven't even gotten like very many like the chariot stuff yet. That'll help.
They're not
with the speed.
They're just not great. So I think having the reduced speed of units really kind of changes how you play battles.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. So, but it's something I'll probably get used to. I just need to keep playing it. Excuse me. I'm having a good time, especially in the campaign. I like the campaign, so let's keep playing it and looking forward to that. I did dip my toe into Chronos, the New Dawn. I'm about, I don't know, hour and a half or so into that. So far, I would say, if you like these. It's certainly not reinventing anything. Did you guys see Alien Romulus?
No, I haven't. I really
you saw it, Kyle. You watched it with me, Kyle, right?
Yeah.
We watched it together. Okay. So what I'll say about so far, and obviously I'm not very far into Chronos yet, but what I would say is Chronos feels like Alien Romulus in that what it set out to do, it does very well, but there's like nothing new here. Like at all. It's very rote. You could probably guess what's going to happen right up to the end. Maybe not with the story so much, but just like it's so clearly and heavily inspired by two franchises, and it feels, looks, acts, and sounds like it. And I'm okay with that. Kind of to the point I was making about when there's a Total War game that I play where all the battles kind of feel the same, but I like the feel. I'm okay with the repetition. It's very much like that. It's like take the heavy armored feel of Isaac from Dead Space and add in the extremely limited resources and more difficult aim and precise aiming of Resident Evil 2, like the remakes.
Yeah.
So it's like a kind of a confluence of those two, and that's the game. Like
that sounds appealing to me though.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh yeah. 100%. I just don't want to like sell it as this. Oh man, I've never played anything like this. I've played a lot of games like this.
Well, that's exactly why you picked it up.
Yes, it is. Yeah. But you go in wondering like, are they going to do something that changes it? There's some stuff that they mess with. There's like this kind of merging. Have you guys seen that? The merge thing. So like
I've seen shockingly little about the game, honestly.
The twist on the gameplay, and it hasn't totally come into play much for me yet because I'm just kind of getting into where I'm getting into combat more regularly. But basically, when you kill an enemy, they have these like tentacle things that kind of come out of their body, and they just stay right there. They're just like part on the corpse, and other enemies that enter the area can take their corpse and like merge with it, and they become like twice as powerful. And that can keep happening until you're, I guess, fighting like a fucking rat king from Last of Us 2.
Damn.
But you get this fuel that you use to fire the ground. It's like a flamethrower that goes out from your feet in every direction, and you can burn the enemy bodies. So you, in addition to being like, okay, well, I only have this much ammo and this many health packs or whatever, you're also thinking, okay, well, this guy's attacking me from over here, and then this dude ambushed me from behind. So I'm going to bring him into this room together and make sure that I get them both dead close to each other so I can use one of my flame ammo or whatever to burn both their bodies at once, because I don't want to use two to burn two bodies, because then the next room there might be three guys and I have none left. And now, so it's like this like kind of strategic math that you're playing with the enemies that are attacking you.
Okay.
I like the soundtrack. I like the art direction. Art
direction looks incredible.
Art direction's so unique and so cool. Have you guys heard or seen the show Dark on Netflix? It's a German.
No,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I feel like they liked that show.
Yeah,
I feel like they liked that show. It's kind of has like that really eerie techno music of Stranger Things or the show Dark. Both have similar. I would say Dark is like a slightly more serious Stranger Things, but instead of interdimensional, it's time travel. It's like these high school kids that get into time travel, and the show really embraces like the insanity of time travel. And you are a time traveler in this game in Chronos. So I don't really know anything yet. Like you're kind of figuring this out.
Cryptic.
Yeah, moment by moment. My only zonk so far on the game is that some of the voice acting on the like recordings that you pick up is really bad. And some of it's good, but like every now and then I'll pick up and I'll be like, what? Like, did you guys not realize you didn't voice that? So you just grabbed like Jane from IT and threw her into the closet and told her to read this. Like, that's what it sounds like sometimes, which is always kind of a letdown. Other than that, though, very intrigued by the setting. Love the music. Love the art style. Gameplay. It's scary. It's definitely not like the most scary thing I've ever played, but it's I would call it less jump scare so far and more just very stressful and intense because of the lack of ammo and stuff. It's pretty brutal with that. It's not like Dead Space where I've been playing New Game Plus Dead Space a little bit, and it's like I have like so much money. I have like 150 rounds for my plasma cutter. You know, it's just like whatever. I'll just use the whole clip to kill this guy. I don't care. Where I'm working with like 10 rounds at any given time if I'm lucky so far. So that's been, and then you have to really place your aim well. So that's very stressful, but pretty good. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is also it doubles as what I'm playing. I'm not going to get into the game because it's going to be our next experience point, which we wanted to reveal. Oh, sorry guys. I've been playing Alien Isolation. This is what most of my time has gone into. I'm already like 3 hours into it. I fucking love this game. And I haven't played it since around when it came out. I don't know why. I think because I know it's kind of long and it's pretty stressful. So I was like, I don't know. I'm always just like, I love that game. I don't need to go through it again right now. I always knew I would play it again. But this was your call last week or 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, Taylor. You wanted to do this for our seasonal scary experience point game. And the moment you said that, I think I played it like that night. Yeah. I was so excited to play it. So I've been playing. Won't get too into it. I would definitely recommend, and I know you just did, Taylor, I would definitely recommend watching the original Alien before you play this because of how clearly beloved that movie is by everyone who made that. So it's insane the amount of attention to detail that they poured from the movie into the game. So that's all I'll say for now. But yeah, so watch it. Maybe watch that before. If it's been a while since you've seen it. But yeah, super excited. So we're gonna try and get that done maybe by the end of the month and or like early November, right?
Yeah.
For those listening.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you hear in the episode and you want to get on it, maybe start it now or start putting some time into it. But
you guys can watch me go through that this weekend. Actually, I'm gonna start.
Oh shit!
Yes,
dude, I can't. I told Alicia that we can watch Twitch on the TV and then access chat with our phones, and she was like, "Okay,
dude."
Hell yeah.
Oh no! You guys are gonna watch me cry live.
Yeah. It's an interesting. Do you like? Okay, I'm curious. If you like stealth games, you'll like this. Even despite the scariness.
Yeah, the thing is, stealth games also come with killing people, and that's not happening here.
Yeah, but I would just say that Outlast game that I talked about, I think a couple weeks ago. Yeah, like where you're constantly getting spotted and then having to sprint and like kind of hoping that you know where you're going. That's it's not like that. You still kind of feel badass when you outsmart the alien. That's all I'll say. And whoever else, the people, like you have to be very resourceful, come up with plan ahead, kind of memorize the area you're in. Like, okay, it's like that hallway connects. Okay, so I'm going to throw this thing over there and I'm going to run in here. I'm going to get this done and I'm going to get out. And it's like all these, and when it works, when the plan works and you don't end up with a alien tail through your stomach, it's pretty cool. It's a lot. It's it gives you that same kind of like, all right, yeah, I got this. Like, you know, so
I'm just gonna. I could survive the Nostromo.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. I think what helps me, or what's going to help me, is just thinking that just coming in prepared to just die a lot.
Yes, you will.
Just getting over that part of, and just kind of exploring and figuring it out, and just being like, okay, well that didn't work. Let's try it again.
Yeah, it's basically each section is like a puzzle, and you're putting it together. And if you don't get it together, it blows up and tells you to start over. That's kind of what it is. But which can be very frustrating. I think it was frustrating to some people. For some reason, like the moment I die, I'm like, oh, I know what I did there. I know what I did. Okay, I got this. Like that's what I feel like every time I play.
Nice.
So I'm curious. You might not feel that way. So that'll be our experience point. Please, if you guys want to jump in, it is a little lengthy for a horror game. I think it's because you're moving at a snail's pace through so much of it. So
I
it's
think
like
it kind of depends on the player.
it depends on the player, but I mean, if you're running in this game is just suicide.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can sprint, and it's a decent sprint. Like it's not like it doesn't cheat you. You know, like some games where you sprint and you run like 2 seconds, and it's like,
Right.
come on, you can sprint. You can sprint for a long time, and it's like realistically fast.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, please kill me.
Yeah.
You only use it in certain moments where you know exactly where you need to be, and it's going to take you this long, and you're going to make it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
It's so
Jesus.
crazy.
I love
It's
that
so
feeling.
crazy, dude. It's so. I
hate
feel
that
like
feeling.
this game does that better than any other game that I've ever played. I'm just going to say that. I know we shouldn't talk about it too much because we're getting into it, but
That's
I
the
am
kind
looking
of
forward
I
to
get
playing
that the same kind of thrill from that as you do from like the drop on a roller coaster, you know? Like getting chased like that like has almost the same, like it's scary, but it's also like fun at the same time, you know?
No, I don't get that part.
Yeah.
There's no fun to be had for me. I just want the fuck out of there.
I will say for Kyle, the difference is because like Taylor's talking about, I feel like, so like in Resident Evil 2, when you have Mr. X, that to me is worse. It's not that I don't enjoy it, but I want out of that. Like that stresses me out more because it's really prolonged and he's coming after you and you're running all the time. You're like, fuck.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like, oh my God, I just want to like pick up items and wander around this really cool area. And it's like, you just rush. Here he is as he walks towards you. And it's really stressful. Whereas like
And then there's a zombie in your
with
path.
isolation, man, you are like in the alien's area. You're like sitting in his lap. You know, I mean, he's right there all the time and you're not, and he doesn't see you. Mr. X just always knows where you are.
Mhm.
There's no, and to me, that's like the difference, I think, because like if Resident Evil 2 was like Mr. X, like, or if Alien Isolation was like the Mr. X thing the whole time, I wouldn't be able to get through it.
Yeah.
It's just you're rushed. I'm not rushing in Alien Isolation.
I think
hiding.
I think both games though probably,
sneaking.
and I've only played a little bit of Isolation, so I more to come obviously. But I think both scenarios with both villains, I think, teach you really well how to navigate those spaces. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like in Alien, it kind of seems like hiding is really your best strategy, and with Mr. X, it's more like you can run, but you cannot hide.
Yeah.
So it's like make use of your time which you will, and it's kind of like you were saying earlier, Ian. Like it kind of gets to the point where like the map and the police department so well that exactly the route that you're going to take from one spot to the other. So if you have a puzzle that you got to do in one room, you know exactly where to go, and you know exactly what furniture to get behind to where he's not going to get to you as easily. So it just comes with playing the game. I think it sounds like both games teach you very well how to deal with these adversaries.
Well,
Yeah.
look forward to playing it.
Yeah,
But
man.
I'm also not. And
And if you can't, if you're just hating every minute of it, it's like, don't force it, man. Don't.
no,
force
dude, come and watch. I'm gonna do it. I was thinking I'll do it at like 8:00 so it can get dark.
What's your Twitch name?
Saturday, twitch.tv/residualblub.
it. Yeah, we'll make sure to put that in Discord. You can put your, you can link it when you're going live. You can put the link in our Discord so we can all jump
Okay.
in. On that.
Yep, it'll be fun.
Are you guys okay with pushing the news stuff that I had on the show sheet for next week?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
It's
fine.
pretty. I don't think that news will be outdated by the time we get to next week.
No.
Oh gosh, sorry about that. Cool.
This guy.
Well, let's jump into our favorite horror settings. We got 2 write-ins this week. There's one kind of just a general one that I want to start off with. And then Taylor, I'll jump to you for your first kind of pick for your one of your favorite horror settings. But first, I'm going to read this write-in from Miles. Miles wrote in again. So thanks again, good sir, for writing in. Always really enjoy reading what you write in. Miles says, hello, TSG. I don't play a lot of horror games, but the level 343... Oh, this is funny. We were just talking about this. The level 343 Guilty Spark in Halo Combat Evolved is super spooky and iconic. The slow, unnerving reveal that something different is going on and very wrong. The dark, muggy atmosphere before things get quiet for the first time in the game, just to reveal the evil of the Flood in such an awful and disturbing way, was amazing, and an absolute tonal shift that recontextualizes the rest of the game. CE isn't a horror game, but that level has the DNA of Alien and Aliens all over the place. The Flood reveal is just iconic. Yeah, definitely. Aliens especially. I mean, they just kind of ripped off characters out of Aliens and put them into Halo, which is great. Sergeant Johnson is absolutely it might even be the same voice actor. What is his name? Apone, I think. Sergeant Apone. The
headband guy.
No, he's the sergeant, the sergeant with the cigar and the mustache. And he goes, absolutely badasses, or whatever he says. I mean, that guy. It's just Sergeant Johnson. He's just they just took him right out. I think it's Apone is his name. I mean, it's literally the same character. So always like that. Miles then says, generally really love when non-horror games have sequences or scenes that delve into horror, like Fallout 3, Oblivion, the BioShock games, Last of Us, etc. When games allow themselves to dip into horror for a bit, it tends to be some of my favorite sections. Take it easy, Miles.
That's a good
So I thought it was a good setup on kind of what we're talking about here.
For sure.
Taylor, how about you take us to your first favorite?
Yeah, I had a couple different choices for this episode. There are a lot of different settings in horror games that I think are really iconic, and I think Miles kind of took a really good idea too, which I think we've done the topic before where we've talked about some of our favorite moments from non-horror games that we really, really liked, and so the topic of like thinking of a really good setting is something that interests me a lot, but especially in horror games because they're so crafted for that particular reason, So I think one of my ones that I gotta go with is probably Spencer Mansion from the first Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Specifically, I've never played the original Resident Evil game for the PlayStation 1, but I did play the remake that came out on the GameCube, I want to say in 2004, when it came out, between 2004 and 2006. And their kind of recreation of the Spencer Mansion looks really, really good in that particular remake. Just some of the backgrounds, there's a lot of like really iconic parts of the mansion too. It's kind of one of those settings in like a horror game or really just a game in general that is a lot bigger on the inside than you would maybe expect it to be, but there's a lot of different like hidden corridors, and there's a whole graveyard section, and then there's a section even too where that's not even in the mansion, it's almost in like a guardhouse or something that's like on the property. So you go to a lot of different locations in the first Resident Evil, and I love what they do with it. And then there's the whole laboratory that's actually underneath the mansion itself, so it's deceptively big. But I think one of the things I like about it is that it doesn't feel like the nice thing about the Spencer Mansion is it doesn't feel like a Winchester mystery house, like it's not just like rooms that lead to nowhere, or like like there's never like a room.
Oh no, the windows sealed with brick.
Exactly. Like there's not like a room in the Spencer Mansion that I can think of that doesn't serve a purpose, like it seems like, and a lot of that's through like environmental storytelling too. Like the game is a really big fan of delivering a lot of lore about the building and some of the events that are happening in the Resident Evil universe, like right around the same time, through like notes that are kind of left in rooms and stuff like that. and it's clearly defined, like, oh, this is like an art gallery, or this is like a laboratory, or this is the kitchen. I feel like in a lot of horror games there are kind of these like weird rooms that don't make a lot of sense for why they're there, like what purpose they serve, other than to be a creepy room.
Yeah.
And I like that that Resident Evil 1 was kind of thinking about that. Like every room seems to kind of serve a purpose. And yeah, I mean, it's a classic horror location. And I also think the thing that makes it creepy too is that the camera angles from the first game kind of return. Like, as a lot of people know, the remake kind of keeps that sort of camera angle, tank controls around, which I think for people outside of the genre might think that that sounds like it would be really dated, but I think it actually makes the game scarier, almost to the point where I think it would be really difficult to almost remake Resident Evil 1, having it be like a full motion, like controlling the character in a way that isn't tank controls, and making it scary would be really difficult, I think. I think there's a way you could do it, but I certainly don't think that the way that Resident Evil 1 is created is outdated by any means. I still think that that game holds up really, really well.
I have not played it. I need to play it.
It's really good, honestly. I think, like, the same mechanics that are even in the remakes are ones that appear in this game too. Like, a lot of it is like you want to spend most of your time running around enemies rather than shooting them, and getting used to kind of the environment and knowing exactly where you're going to go next. And really, you're only going to want to be shooting enemies unless you absolutely have to. Because there's a trick in the game too, that like even the zombies that you kill end up coming back later on anyway as more powerful, like, red zombies. So, and that are faster as well. So it almost makes sense for you to not kill them, just to save yourself the trouble of having to deal with them later on when you have to go back through those sections. And they're a lot stronger and a lot faster than they used to be. So, yeah, I don't know. There's just so many iconic moments in that first Resident Evil game. It really sells you on the fact that you're alone in this mansion. Even if it's, in the context of the story, there's a couple people that go with you into the Spencer mansion, but not a lot of them leave, which is really cool. And a lot of the lore behind it as well. I won't spoil for those that really want to get into it as well, but the Spencer mansion has a very interesting history that I think plays into like the Resident Evil universe as a whole, that I think like should absolutely be experienced. So when I was thinking of like favorite horror game settings, that was like absolutely one of the first ones that came to mind.
Yeah. No, it makes sense, man. I definitely need to play that at some point, because I've gotten into the series and through the remakes. So I feel like I've played 2, 3, and 4. You told me not to play, you told me not to play 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So I either need to go forward into 7 and 8, or I need to go back and do 1 at some point. Because I try to get like 2 horror games in a year.
One is good. I don't necessarily know if you would be into it, but I think it's worth playing like an hour or two of just to kind of, just see how you like it, do a little sampler, and then if it's not for you, like, definitely move forward, because I think like obviously they've modernized the series very, very well. But yeah, if you end up playing 1 or 2 hours of it and you really like it, like, absolutely, I think you should play through it. But yeah, if it's not for you, like,
yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Kyle, what, because I know going into this, you haven't played a ton of horror games. It's hasn't really been your thing. But from the perspective of someone, if you were going into, so you're going to start playing Alien Isolation. So you're for the game like Resident Evil 1 or any game, think of any horror game that you may play at some point. What are you so scared that you're not able to think about a lot of this stuff, or like some of the stuff that Taylor's talking about, the design and the relevance of like the rooms and the way it's all put together and kind of a puzzle? Like, is that something that you think you're going to kind of pick up on as you play more of these games going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it kind of depends on what's going on in the environment at the time. I mean, if I'm scared enough, I'm not paying attention to anything. I'm trying to get out of there.
Right, for sure.
But no, I mean, I obviously haven't played a whole lot of scary games, but I've watched you play Dead Space.
Yep.
Obviously, I've played both of The Last of Us. I played Alan Wake, the first one. Obviously, there's Control, which is kind of different. I think for me, what really stands out is kind of like similar to what you were talking about, Taylor, is like, things that are creepy and scary, but have a lot of depth to them and like makes you think about like what is going on here, and creates that kind of mystery, which is something I really like about Alan Wake and that universe in general. Is like there's creepy things going on, but more so you're just thinking like, what the hell is going on here? You know? Like this is this is definitely scary, but it's also like way more intriguing somehow. And like I think finding a way to like excuse me. I feel like I'm getting more sick now that I'm talking to you, dude.
Digital virus
infection.
Finding a way to kind of like walk that like, thin line of creating that eerie, creepy feeling inside, but also like having enough mystery in there to make somebody want to continue playing, I think is kind of where the trick is at. For me, I definitely have a lower threshold of like scariness than you guys would. You guys are definitely more curious than I am when it comes to that. But I think if I had to think about like a moment that was like really stood out to me is definitely in The Last of Us 1, running into David and that entire interaction.
Super creepy.
Yeah. That really stands out to me because the things that really last with me are like, I'm much more like, one of my favorite horror films of all time is The Strangers. And it's definitely,
actually.
Yeah, it's such a like good story outside of it being creepy. And also it's very rooted in realism. Like there's these crazy serial killers where, you kind of just were at the wrong place at the wrong time. And, it's something that seems way more believable, right? And so like the interaction with David is very creepy and scary as you get to learn what his intentions are. And he's so friendly in the beginning, and it's like kind of feels like a peaceful place that you're at now, and you feel like you can finally relax. And then, but he's like saying some things here and there where you're like, that was weird,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. But then he ends up being darker and more evil than you ever could have imagined. But there's just so much mystery there where you're like curious about like what is going on here. There's so much about this person. And so for me, it's more about, I really like when the horror is about the evil inside of humans and why are they like that? That's where, that's
it's
what
even
really
scarier.
It's way scarier to me.
Which is why I don't have a problem with the other stuff, because that shit is like horrifying. Like I have not watched. I kind of want to, but I have not watched those Netflix shows. They're doing one a year, and it's a drama with actors. But like they did the Dahmer one last year, I think.
Ooh,
and now they're doing Ed Gein.
I did watch that one,
and it's not a documentary. Like they're a show. It's like a drama about the disturbing nature of those is the kind of thing that keeps me up at night. Like I don't watch I don't play Dead Space or watch Alien. I'm like checking my closet for a xenomorph, but like I lose sleep thinking about an intense situation that someone went through with a horrible, unknowable serial killer,
Yeah.
And 100%. Something that he did to them or made them do or whatever, like that will I will lose sleep over that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the thing is like, albeit obviously, just to clear the air, I would never do cannibalism, but in this universe, in The Last of Us, there is a relatability with David.
Yeah, people would do it.
Yeah, people would do it, and you understand in some form of way why it would happen. Right. I don't think any of us have ever faced hunger at that level to understand what that means.
Yeah.
So I think that overall what that is for me is like, just when you can create like a good story that like explains to me why the evil is happening and it's actually makes sense, That to me is like so incredibly rewarding to be able to look at that and be like, wow, not only is this really creepy, but it actually is relatable in some form of way. Even if I wouldn't do something that evil, I could understand why somebody would.
Yeah, it's grounded in enough realism that makes it scarier for sure.
Yeah. So the scene with David really kind of like stuck with me of like just this complex thing of like why though, but like I get it and I don't understand, what it is that any of these people are going through and the level of hunger that they face. But at the same time, it's like I feel like you could have found a lot of different other options. But yeah, there's just so much complexity with it. So I think that one really sticks out with me is the interaction with David in The Last of Us.
Yeah, that's a really good poll. My first pick is actually somewhat similar to that, Kyle, just in the sense of being able to have it be relatable, and then my second pick is the most obvious pick in the world. I'm wearing. There you go. I wore that special, so we'll get there. I wanted to save time for that. So this one, I'll just go quick through this. But you mentioned Alan Wake, Kyle, and I had a few different things I was thinking of, but Alan Wake is definitely one of my favorite horror game. It's not. It's. I would call that a horror light. At least the first one. What we played in the second one was feeling more like a horror game.
Oh yeah.
But the first one is like horror light. But my favorite thing about Alan Wake is that it takes place in a fictional location called Bright Falls that does take place in Washington State. And having lived here most of my life, it feels so familiar. We drive. I mean, when you drive over the 2, you drive through 3 or 4 towns that are like Bright Falls.
Yep.
If you drive a little north or a little south or a little west of Seattle, every town you drive through feels like that. And it has
places
really
look just like it.
Absolutely. And a ton of that is actually very comforting to me. I really want a shirt that says "Oh Dear Diner" on it. There are so many diners that out on like the peninsula, these like mom and pop little diners that never got purchased up because they're in the middle of a fucking rainforest in the Olympic peninsula. And the idea that a game, these people from Sweden of all places nailed the way that my home feels so often, and then made it scary is really cool. And it's like they really use the kind of that that deep pitch dark in between the trees at nighttime in the woods when you go camping, and like your brain just can't help but like you almost got to look away from it. And I'm not someone who gets really scared really easily or anything, but I like to think I tend to overthink. I tend to do that. And so when I go camping and you just look into that darkness and you shine a light, that little bit of light through the trees, it only picks up a tiny bit and you kind of know what else is there, but anything could look like anything. My brain wants someone to go, through that area. For those who are listening, I just did my fingers like walking by, where you just in any scary movie or whatever, they do the thing where the person walks through a little bit of light and back into the darkness. You're not alone. I mean, they take that one little natural human fear of, hey, Stone Age men and women and kids, you don't go into the fucking woods at night. There's bears and cougars and you're gonna fall down a cliff face or whatever. Like, you just don't do it. It's scary. And it takes that tiny little seed that's like built in, and it's like, what if the woods are just really fucking scary and there's like there's like phantom people coming out with axes trying to murder you the whole time, and the only way to kill them is with your flashlight. So it just like kind of creates this really cool relationship, both with my own personal experience of Washington, but also just like making these things that are comforting and kind of innocent, scary and mysterious and interesting is one of my favorite things about Alan Wake. And double that up for Alan Wake 2, because I haven't finished that yet. I'm going to restart it at some point. Can't wait. I want to play through Control again, because there is Alan Wake related DLC that I never played that kind of connects it with the second game. So I want to go back and play that DLC and just play through Control. In fact, maybe that'll be up there for me on one of my picks for experience point. I think Kyle, you're picking next. So be thinking about what you want to do for after
Ooh.
Alien Isolation. I guess the only rules to us picking, like, don't pick like Witcher 3 without us like deciding, if it's going to be a 100-hour game, we should all kind of decide on that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, whatever you want, whatever you want to do. So yeah, so that's my first one. I love Alan Wake. I love Bright Falls, Oh Dear Diner, the trailer parks, the woods, the parks, the national parks, all of it, just the cabins, just everything about it. It just feels so familiar, and yet it's so sinister and confusing and mysterious.
I gotta get to that game at some point too.
Oh, dude,
I really want to play. The second one looked really, really good to me, and so I wanted to play the first one.
Have you never played it?
I played it a long time ago, and I played it when I was in high school. And I actually ended up dropping it because I thought it wasn't scary enough, the first one.
Yeah, so it's definitely not like a horrifying game.
Yeah, it's the story that's really
now that
cool.
I know what it is and like what it's trying to go for with like the whole like Twin Peaks kind of feel or whatever, like very inspired by that.
Yes, absolutely.
It sounds really cool. And then the second one looks worth it just to get the added context,
Yeah, I think I wish there was like more, and maybe, hey, those who are listening, shout it out next episode or something. But I really like that genre of like horror, like creepy, but like you're like a detective through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of like you're investigating something that's clearly there's something abnormal going on here, or even if it was just like investigating a serial killer of some kind. Like I want more games like that. What's
that one for the 360? It was like a launch title where you played an FBI agent and you were hunting a serial killer.
Oh,
and the Condemned.
Is it?
Condemned Criminal Origins. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know why I was thinking Manhunt for some reason.
Oh yeah. No, it came out with the 3, like right as the 3. It's probably like from 2005 or 6. Like it's really, 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 really early 360 era.
Yeah.
And I remember it was too scary for me because that was before
2005.
Yeah, I knew it was like right around there. It was like right when the 360 came out. And you had like a black light and a camera, and you were like taking pictures of blood spatter, and you were an FBI agent. And then shit goes really sideways. It was way too scary for me. I quit it within like
sounds cool
half an hour when I was a kid. I was early high school at that point when that came out. So I was like, no way. Taylor, man, what's your next one?
Yeah, my next pick is from a game I played a long, long time ago and jumped back into it probably about a year ago. But I would have to pick Brandenburg Castle from Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which is a PC game. I think it's available on consoles now and pretty much available anywhere. But Amnesia: The Dark Descent is a first-person horror game that all takes place within this castle setting. And I remember the way that I first got introduced to the game was because I remember seeing a really funny video of a guy like reacting while like playing the game. And I just thought it looked like a lot of fun. So I ended up downloading it and having a really good time with it. I never ended up finishing it, unfortunately. So one of these days I do have to go back and see it through to the end. But it's kind of a first-person horror game, like sort of puzzle game, where you wake up as the main character who has amnesia, and you basically kind of piece together through the course of the game like how you got to Brandenburg Castle, what your relationship is with the owner of Brandenburg Castle, who's this like count who basically oversees this town that you're in, essentially. And I think it's just got a really creepy aesthetic. Like there's some monsters in the game that you encounter that you have no ability to fight against. You literally just have to run away from them and hide. But the game has a really interesting mechanic where hiding in the darkness erodes your sanity. And so it strikes this really interesting balance because you want to find a hiding place that's well lit enough to where you can still be able to make out like what's around you and what in your surroundings, but you also want to pick a spot that's dark enough to where you're not going to get seen, but you don't want your sanity to erode. So it strikes an interesting balancing act of like trying to hide from these enemies while also like, making your way through the castle in almost kind of like a Alien Isolation sort of way, I'd have to imagine. But the lore behind it is really interesting. Your relationship to this count also like kind of breadcrumbs you through the story, and it just gives like a really interesting perspective. Like if you ever wondered what it would be like to like almost in a Nosferatu way stay in a castle at night by yourself and just like navigate the corridors, I feel like it nails that feeling and aesthetic really, really well. And there's some really cool sections where you're in the basement and stuff like that, and it's really, really creepy. There's a famous scene where you go into the basement and it's almost like flooded with water, and there's like a weird creature that's in it that like follows you as you're making your way like through this underwater like portion of the map. So it's really, really cool and really, really well done. And I think they've made a couple sequels to Amnesia that were not very well received apparently, but the first one is really, really good, and definitely worth going back to. But yeah, I think Brennenburg Castle has to be one of those settings that I think of when I think of a horror game and how well it's done, even for the time it came out, because I think it was like came out in like the early 2000s. I want to say like 2001 or 2002. But
Oh, is it that old?
Yeah.
Oh man, I always thought it was later. Oh man, now I'm just curious. Yeah, that's amazing. That game has
maybe 2006. Maybe
that
I'm
game
misremembering,
has
but
such a legacy. I don't know, I'm sure. I'm sure you're right. I'm just curious. I'm always so curious about like when that came out. Yeah, I feel like this game came out September 8th of 2010.
Oh, okay, wow. So even more modern than I was expecting.
Yeah, because I think that's like when all the that's like you mentioned a Let's Player. I feel like that's when Let's Plays were just the rage.
Yeah, it definitely
like,
was.
Guys
one
like
of the first...
Markiplier made their career on games like Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
Yeah, which is, I think, gives it a bad name. Like, it's definitely not like a like. It's not so much so that like it would be like a Five Nights at Freddy's type thing, right?
Yeah,
like it was
like
actually like
bullshit.
atmospheric and had a really, really good story to tell. But
yeah,
yeah,
the art direction's really good.
I do remember people like reacting to it at the time it came out though, because it was legit like a really, really scary game.
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know, Jane Eyre meets Mary Shelley like era, sort of that scary Victorian, really dark, all about isolation, alone.
For sure. Yeah, it's and one of the things I think about is cool about it too is it inspired a lot of horror games. Like I know in Resident Evil 8 in Village, there's one of the first sections that you play through in the game is Dimitrescu Castle, and it's totally inspired by Brennenburg Castle. Like I can see like all of the different inspirations, and there's even a segment in Resident Evil 8 where you like go into a cellar that's like flooded out, and it totally gives me that same vibe. So I think it inspired a lot of really iconic games that would come later out. But yeah, it's so good.
Heck yeah. I think I should. I've never actually played it myself. I've seen it played. I may have even watched Markiplier play it.
Yeah.
At some point. I can just hear his voice right now, him getting freaked out by playing that. But it would be cool it'd be really cool to go back and play that for sure. I think one thing I like about horror games is just not super long, usually.
Yeah.
It's like 20 hours max. Yeah. Oh no, I agree. Hopefully. I mean, it wears thin. It's too stressful for too long, or it stops being scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you definitely don't want to reach that point.
Not that I think if you want to change something, you want to go from scary to action, you can do that in a really nice way. But if it's just like, if you're still trying to jump scare me at the end and I'm just like, I've destroyed everything in this game. It just kind of feels lame at that point.
Right.
Feels like a bad haunted house attraction off the freeway,
Yeah.
It's just like, this is stupid. Kyle, any thoughts on that, or did you have another one you wanted to bring up? Or
Yeah, this one's like it's kind of like twofold. The more I think about this game, the more I realize how much I really enjoyed it. But I really liked the multiple moments at the Ocean View Motel in Control.
Control is so underrated.
Yeah, I'm so glad
It's I gotta play.
Oh man,
so many good things about it.
Don't worry,
you are aware it's in the universe of Alan Wake, right?
Me,
Yeah.
kind of, but not really.
So you kind of want to.
You either know or you don't. I mean, it's
Yeah. You want to play Alan Wake 1 and then do.
I know the
you
feelings
can correct me if
the
I'm wrong,
series
Ian.
tries to conjure and like what it's inspired by, but not like specifically.
Well,
Gotcha.
no, it literally like the stories take place in the same.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
knew that.
So
yeah, so you want actually
the oldest house, man. No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, the oldest house. Yeah, I mean the Ocean View Motel is just really, it's got a creepy vibe. Nothing really ever happens, but there's always that like anticipation of something happening that they do a really good job of, and it's so subtle. You know, there's like this kind of weird paranormal thing going on, kind of similar to what's that show, that classic sci-fi like thriller where he's like an FBI agent. X-Files.
Yeah.
Obviously Alan Wake in general is just like that whole universe is like a big nod to X-Files, but especially Control like really dives into that.
Yeah. Big scary government with lots of secrets. Area 51.
Yeah.
Sort of
and
feel. Yeah. 1950s kind of era.
Cold
War. Smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, right. I almost prefer it when like nothing actually does happen, but you're just always on the edge for it. Like
me too.
That part is really good, and they really nail it in Control. I think the aesthetic and feel of everything, and like you were saying, there's just a lot of weird secrets going on where something is happening that seems paranormal or abnormal, but you also understand that like somebody holds all the secrets and understands what's happening, so you're trying to figure out the mystery of that. And I think the Ocean View Motel is like just like that perfect spot where there's just something creepy about it. You know, you go into one room and then all of a sudden the door of another room opens up and like slams open, and then you go into that room and you play with you play with something on the table and then the phone rings or something. It's just like something weird always is happening, and it just kind of keeps you on edge, but nothing serious ever really happens. It's just perfect. They really do a good job of that.
Yeah, they do excellent. In fact, it's kind of funny. Obviously, the same Remedy, the same developer, but what I was just praising Alan Wake for was taking something familiar to all of us and twisting it slightly to make it scary, to make it intimidating. And we've all been in a motel like that at some point in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they really know the feeling and the look of it. And it's very familiar to you when you walk in. And then for that place to not feel right is kind of a fun take on it. You know, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, and it gives you a little bit of the Bates Motel kind of feel to it, right? Where you're like, this is wrong. Something's not going on here. really good tension building. There's a lot of stuff like that in Control where it never quite crosses the line into horror, but the supernatural kind of threat of things happening and just the not knowing what's going on just creates a lot of natural tension in a really nice way in Control and Alan Wake.
Yeah, there's plenty of eeriness, but you're also like kind of a superhero in Control. So you're not too concerned about if something pops off because the main character is just a badass.
Especially by the end.
Yeah. But yeah, there's still that eeriness to it where it's just like, this makes me feel uneasy. There's something creepy happening here, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely that game feels that way throughout, I think. So
yeah.
They do a great job of that. Okay, cool. Well, I'll wrap it up with the really obvious one. So just to love on the easy one here for a second, but I am going to read Lord of the Cream's entry. He does address this a little bit, but he actually goes into something else. But I think I got to go. Here's what he said. I think I got to go with being on a ship in space. obviously Dead Space is the immediate go-to for this, but also what immediately comes to my mind is Doom 3. A black sheep entry in the franchise, but it was my introduction to Doom, and that game scared me more than anything else I ever played. There's something about being stuck in space in a situation like that that makes it so much worse because you really can't escape, and odds are no one is coming to save you. I just love the blend of science fiction and horror. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Doom 3 is really, it was, people didn't like it at the time, but that is a very good game. It's very creepy. I think there's something about that lighting for the time. The lighting engine was absolutely incredible. What is that, like Unreal Engine 2 or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Really, really good lighting, and it ran at a weird 30 frames a second. Feels like maybe it ran at like 28 frames a second, but it worked. And the way the monsters, the demons look and stuff in Doom 3, that's a really good pull. I didn't even think of that before I read your write-in. So really good write-in.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I think that Doom 3 is kind of underrated.
I get why people who love Doom didn't like it, because it doesn't.
I didn't like it at the time, honestly.
Yeah.
It wasn't until probably a decade later that I really played it and really liked what it was doing.
That would be a really fun replay, like an old school kind of going back and playing some older games, which I know we don't do in Experience Point at some point, but that might be a really fun one. I can't. It's been so long since I played that. I remember showing a lot of people that game because it was like, look at what the Xbox can do.
Right. Yeah.
That game was a really good example of the standard def games of that era. It's like the first time 3D games looked at all good.
Right.
It felt like. So I wanted to end it with the USG Ishimura, which is definitely not just my favorite horror setting. It's like, I think it's like top 3, maybe 4 settings for me in any video game, no matter the genre, just from every single aspect, from the atmosphere and the lighting to the design to the insane level of detail that's poured into every single room and every single corner and every light and every fixture and every bulkhead and bolt and frame. And it's just the grading and just everything about it never lets up on that amount of detail as the game. Sometimes you'll feel like the intro level of a game is its best, and you could tell that's what they're going to show at E3, and then you play it, it just starts becoming gray hallways and repeated things. But that game, it's like every single one was like the first level of a game.
Right.
Every moment. I like the idea that it's always been called the haunted house in space. I love science fiction and horror as well. I do think it's kind of my favorite combo of genres, and kind of my favorite version of horror is usually more science fiction. I think because I didn't take to horror very naturally, I was very scared for a very long time. And there are still some horror games that I just don't enjoy. I've brought up Outlast before. I just have a really hard time with Outlast. It's just like, I don't enjoy myself at all. But with science fiction, it was like, that was sort of my boot in the door, and has allowed me to like other stuff like Resident Evil and other scarier games because of the design of survival horror. But just the fact that it's such a callback to so many great science fiction horror greats like Alien and The Thing and Event Horizon and all of these kind of cult classic and or mega hits. Mm-hmm. But it never has to just straight up steal from them. It still feels like its own universe, and the lore and like the pull of the story as you go, and you want to know. It's kind of like Alan Wake, where nothing makes sense and you just have to know. And it really plays with the idea of perspective in video games that the story does, and who's real and who isn't, and are you actually okay, and how much of this is actually happening. It kind of gives me like what you were talking about a little bit with Silent Hill, Taylor, where it kind of, you're not even sure if it's just really happening or if it's all an illusion, kind of an allegory or something, but it is happening, which makes it even scarier. So it's like this weird confluence of, it feels like a greatest hits, but it also is so good and so original, and on its own, it stands on its own. It doesn't feel like a ripoff.
Right.
And the Ishimura to me is just I could just play Dead Space. I will be playing Dead Space forever because I just love that ship so much. What do you guys think?
Fantastic, man. I loved every bit of watching that, and I do think that there's something about that aesthetic and just being, trapped, in a vacuum, and that idea of like, especially in like what I like about Dead Space is throughout a lot of the game, you're like wondering, it's like, well, I mean, maybe there's other people, That's like kind of what you're searching through the whole thing. So there's like a small smidgen of hope that you're like going to be interacting with other people. And then you also like, what I like towards the end is like, maybe none of this, like how much of this is like real. I really like that about Dead Space and the creepiness and loneliness of that. So yeah, I totally agree, man. I think it's freaking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, what is there to say about Dead Space that hasn't already been said? It's absolutely, I agree with you, probably the best for my money horror game setting, and like you mentioned, even just like settings and video games in general. I just think it does what it does so well. I think the one thread I would pull at that I think makes Dead Space and the Ishimura so special is that I love that it gives me more of a reason to care about the world outside of the Ishimura as well.
Yeah.
With the way that the developers kind of craft what kind of ship it is, it seems like it's very few times in like a horror movie or a horror game sometimes where you really get invested in the lore that takes place or the universe outside of that setting. I think that Dead Space does that really well. I mean, we've talked about before how like all the weapons you're using are all tools that you would use on this mining ship, and like the planet cracking aspect of it, I think is really interesting. But also, like, I feel like outside of just the Ishimura itself being a really scary location, they also get you interested in like the unitology aspect of it, and like there's like kind of a religious zealotry, that takes place in the universe as well, that I think also makes it really scary and adds another element to it being, a horror other than just like the sci-fi aspect, right? So yeah, just a master craft of video game design, and it's hard to top, man. I think like whenever I think of another horror game setting, there's not one that is above it for me. And I think that the lore building that happens in it, the different levels, kind of like what I was talking about with the Spencer Mansion too, like no room goes unused or has no purpose. Like there's the med bay, and then there's the hydroponics, and then there's the like hangar. Like all of these different rooms and areas of the ship serve a purpose, and exactly like the utilitarian reason why people would be aboard the ship and what they would be doing in this room. It's not like just a random happenstance scary room that's supposed to look scary because that's how it's designed. Like it actually makes sense in a grounded as you can get in a universe like Dead Space, and I've always found that to be really special.
Yeah, I think what makes it scary is the fact that it feels as though they went through and created the Ishimura with the sole intention of it being a very practical deep space mining vessel that people live and work on. They're like, don't think about it. This is not some hallway we're going to make that's extra scary. Like, this is why it was built this way. And then you add in all of your monsters and broken lights and blood, and it's like, it's scary because you can tell people lived here and worked here every day.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job of that. And it adds in the religious horror and the psychological horror and the monster body horror. It's like it gets like all the parts of the different great films and games that are scary, and just puts them all together, just wraps it up into this ship, into this environment that just feels like it's a real place.
Yeah,
it's like absolutely. I have it like memorized in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool. So
also one of my favorite experience points we've ever done. So if you're so inclined, go back and listen to that episode because it's a good one.
And was that with the remake, or did we play the original?
No, I think it was the remake.
I couldn't remember if it was before or after the remake. So that's cool. Awesome. Well, guys, do you have any final words or thoughts before we sign it off for the evening?
No,
man.
Happy Halloween. Happy
Halloween. Happy October. I'm so glad it's here. I can feel it in the air, literally outside. It's cooler. I just wish the smoke was gone.
God, this morning it was freezing, dude.
Yeah, it was cold, dude. It's getting cold. So I love that. I can't wait. I love we're watching scary movies like throughout the month. We always do mix it in with other stuff that's like more fun, and we just love this time. And we're like hashtag PSL fam over here for sure.
You're like Norwegians over here.
Dude, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to come over and have 3 blankets so I can survive.
Hell yeah, dude. But you're warm.
Yeah.
Under the blankets. That's what feels so good. Is you're like, oh, it's cold. That's like a tough guy thing. I'm not like, whatever. I'll take my shirt off in negative 40-degree weather. I don't care. Like, I get cold, and I'm like, oh, I'm cold, and then it's put on a sweater and a blanket, and like, I'm all cozy.
Yeah.
That was very Alicia of me right there. I sounded like Al. We became one human being there for a moment.
Oh gosh,
that's funny. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for bearing with me and being okay with jumping out a little early. Just I can feel it already. Like my throat's like, stop. So appreciate you guys. I'm super excited for next week. Thank you for the write-ins, Miles and Lord of the Cream, and we're super, super pumped to talk to you next week. But until then, I hope you all have a wonderful, safe weekend, and we will catch you later.
See you guys. Stay safe.
Thanks again for stopping by.